Welcome back to the Sun and Moon Tarot. Today we will find what is good and what is hidden. I hope you're well and staying blessed, enjoying life wherever you are. This is a Gemini season read for my air signs. If you have Gemini, Libra, Aquarius highly aspected, this read is likely for you. Happy birthday, Geminis. Enjoy the air season. Cards are already falling out. We're going to use the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. We're going to do a timeless read for you guys. So it is taking place during Gemini season, but if you watch this at another date and it resonates, that's all good. If it doesn't resonate, check out your other signs. If those don't resonate, check out another reader. No harm, no foul. I love y'all dearly. A new note for the channel. I have started doing reversals. So that's fun. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're enjoying the season. Hope you're enjoying spring. Sorry if the traffic's a bit loud. Don't have a mic for the channel quite yet. All right, y'all. Hope you don't mind the different layout. I thought I would film in a slightly different location today. So, okay, my air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Yeah, if you're interested in booking with me, you can do so at my email. A bunch of cards fell on the floor. Give me 1 second, please. Make sure I have everything off the floor, y'all. Okay. You have another 8 coming out. All right, my beautiful air signs. Don't hate the layout, don't love it. That's a little better. Okay, so, oh, look, you did get a reversal. You've got clarifying cards at the end. Again, we're using the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. If you're unfamiliar, look it up. For this read, this Hermit card is the overall energy for your read. It will resonate throughout the entire read. And it's a big deal. It means Virgo, okay? So it is, if you're a Gemini, that matters because that's our sister sign. And we share Mercury as a ruling planet. The Hermit card is a big deal. It's finding the way, okay? Contemplation, solitude, insight, awareness. The lantern really represents, with the star inside of it, following the path that is illuminated for you by your guides, right? Interesting for our Gemini season read. Okay, so you do have your recent past, your current energy, and your future pulled. Six of Wands, Justice card, and the 5 of Cups for your recent past. You do have like a lot of major arcana here. You've got the Hermit, the Justice card, the Empress, the Devil, and the Lover's card. And we'll get into this in a minute. The fact that these two came out like next to each other is insane. But we'll get into that later. And then you have an 88. You have the 8 of Swords. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Actually, we'll get into that in a minute. But here we are with your recent past being the 6 of Wands, the Justice card, and the 5 of Cups. The 6 of Wands is going to be public reward, victory, recognition. Often, because it is a fire card, often it does simply represent being aware as to how, with the Hermit, it's going to represent being aware as to how these kind of things play out in your life, how certain victories have played out. With the Justice card and the 5 of Cups, the Justice card is another major arcana. It could represent a Libra or Libra season. But the Justice card really is, with the scales there, it's kind of like the law of cause and effect for Hermeticism, right? So, oh, sorry. It really does represent truth, fairness, clarity, cause and effect, how laws work. That could, for some reason, be of significance to someone if you're like a lawmaker, and or if you're like a lobbyist, especially with the Hermit and the Five of Cups. So like, that's a very specific message. But if you're someone that is very interested in writing like laws, in some way, shape, or form, you're being very, like, in your recent past, you've become very aware to something in terms of how to achieve that. And you might have like lost the first time that you attempted to push this through, but the universe says that victory is potentially in the future with those Two of Cups here, behind the character on the card of the Five of Cups. So what I mean by that is, if you lost, and this is going to be in any job, not just if you're a lawmaker, but in any job whatsoever or any relationship, if you experience some sort of reward due to cause and effect, you also experience some sort of a loss that you are recognizing and kind of going through in some way, shape, or form in your recent past, and it's bringing insight, awareness into these two full cups behind the character. As he mourns the three fallen over cups, the two presented behind him are actually filled, and therefore they represent two new endeavors in your life being kind of introduced as three are taking away. There, I said it. So if you're not a lawmaker, because that's most of us, right? Air signs, this is more so going to be like you simply really recognizing how certain rewards come with, like, how they are in terms of cause and effect, how they work. And you might have like experienced like a loss recently, and that is going to bring you awareness on how to create future achievements. That's how that translates. So my beautiful air signs, for your current energy, you have the Empress, the Devil, and the Lovers. What a freaking row. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, Gemini, to be clear. Okay. So what did I mean earlier about it's super weird that these two came out together? I know that I've never had that come out in any of my filmed reads or any of my personal reads or like any reads I've done for anyone ever. I've never had these fall out consecutively ever. So it's a big deal. And it's a big deal because I personally have heard a reader recently pull these two cards, and I'm going to share his kind of like funny explanation about it, because I like dig it. They both represent love, right? But this is positive love, and this is negative love. This is obsession, whereas this is progression, right? And it's just interesting that they came out and with the Empress. That's just it's a pretty big spiritual message. And what I mean by that is this is all about insight and awareness. So in your current energy during this season, or during like the end of Taurus season into your Geminian season, right? And throughout spring, for the most part, probably not during Aries season, you might really just be embodying this Empress energy, which is bringing kind of like forth this interesting flow around you nonetheless. So the Empress is the queen of all queens. She works with all elements. She literally represents beauty, fertility, nurturing, luxury, creativity. She shows up in the card as a queen sitting on her throne, surrounded by life that can be harvested. That's how much she nurtures, right? And you embody this in this season. Now, with the Devil and the Lovers, the actual defined meaning of the Devil is materialism, playfulness, pleasure, and addiction. The defined meaning of the Lovers is choices, union, love, and relationships. Excuse me. Okay. You have a 66 appearing not consecutively. This has got me on a mental trip and it probably will be there all season. There's just so many parallels with these characters that it's insane. You've got the angel versus like the demon kind of a thing going on, and also the two human couples that are being influenced by these deities. It's just weird. All of it's weird. Man, this has me going. Okay, anywho, so the Empress, right? The queen of all queens, and this doesn't mean that you have to be a female. It just means that you do create like life through love around you. Okay, so then there is the Devil and the Lover's card. So there's a lot of choices when it comes to unions in your life going on, and I know we already did talk about the Five of Cups. So like following that energy of like whatever three things you lost personally are being like replaced in such a way that you're going to be majorly shocked, like majorly shocked during Gemini season. And you're going to be incredibly insightful about how certain things played out for you when you like held your tongue, or when you stood up for yourself, or when you whatever, when things were going on in your life in the past, how they kind of like energy marked your path for the future. And with that current energy here, so like if you're like, let's go with that first story, right? The lawmaker, okay? The person making choices based on cause and effect, and they might have faced a loss that they're attempting to get over and then regain kind of strength, right? So it is the representation of, with these cards, recognizing that the first losses were for a reason. So if you're a lawmaker, it meant that you needed to edit your work. If you are a writer, you needed to edit your work. If you're whatever, you needed to do detailed fact checks, etc. Things needed to be changed in some way, shape, or form. Things were added that shouldn't have been added, and therefore that's why the loss had to happen, because certain things needed to change. And you might have not seen it initially, which is why you experienced that kind of disconnect. But as you make the changes that are necessary with whatever projects, you're going to really see a growth pattern that's going to be just incredibly quick in terms of manifestation. Like you won't even be counting time because of how fast it seems to be like manifesting for you. You have like a insight and awareness on the things that needed to change and why you had certain losses, and so you're able to really show up as that, like that 33 is not here, right? But like that energy of, in terms of this highest good, like what is best for all involved, right? True harmony. So air signs, you have a beautiful Gemini season with a lot of like major choices and a lot of fun headed for you. If this is if you're watching this at another time, then if it's resonating, this is going to be like a little bit of chaotic, and like you have to like any other time be very aware of what's influencing you. But regardless of that, it's going to be kind of a very fun season filled with lots of different choices. So in your future, you've got the 8 of Swords, the 8 of Cups, and the 9 of Swords reversed. That is our first reversal on my channel. I don't know why I'm so excited about it, but I am. I've been reading tarot for almost a decade, so I'm kind of pumped to be making some changes. You do have, is that 3? No, 2 9s appearing as well. All right. So 8 of Swords, of course, is not a fun card. I mean, but it's a card of that you kind of typically go through when you're on the hermit path. Okay. The 8 of Swords is self-victimization. It can be entrapment or imprisonment, but typically if you look at the character on the card, it does represent like you putting yourself in a situation that you could get out of, that you're choosing to not get out of. Just like all the symbolism of the card is that. And with the Eight of Cups, that is disillusionment. It's walking away. It's being very clear-minded emotionally on whatever you were doing to put yourself in this situation and breaking free from it. Now, the Nine of Swords reversed is a new one. And it does represent reaching out for help, hope, and sometimes despair. So in the upright for the Nine of Swords, you'd have anxiety, hopelessness, trauma, rather than hope, reaching out for hope and despair. So, yeah, in the future, you are recognizing you're really recognizing how, certain choices just basically cause and effect, how certain things are putting you in situations that are not like necessarily good for you, and why, and that you are unfortunately putting yourself in those situations, and that you are reaching out for help so that you can stop doing that. It would seem, because whatever whatever negative traits there are for this read, right? So if it's a relationship, if it's a career, if it's whatever, those 3 cups that got knocked over, let's say it's something that you should have changed and you chose not to. It's going to be recognizing what you should have changed and making the effort to change. If it's something that you really shouldn't have ignored and you did, then it's getting slapped in your face once again, and you're having to fix it, and you're asking for help, and you're reaching out, and you're being very aware as to why you shouldn't have ignored, kind of like the red flags, right? Let's get your clarifying cards out, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Sorry, this is a longer read. It is your Gemini season read though, so hopefully you enjoy it. We've got a second reversal, and you do have the King of Pentacles in reverse and the Seven of Pentacles in the upright. That's interesting. Greed, indulgence, and excess is what the King of Pentacles in reverse means by definition. And the Seven of Coin is hard work, perseverance, and diligence. So if you have a business partner or a partner that is maybe quite selfish, this is them catching them in that act, and you no longer being able to make excuses for it. If this is in your future, if you, whatever cause and effect lesson you're supposed to learn, it has to do with greed and different types of indulgence and excess. So if that's a problem that you're having, with the Devil here, then it's something you're going to have to overcome. So what I mean by that is, if in your relationship or in whatever this is, there's some sort of negative kind of obsession, or that would be an addiction ultimately, then there's in the future that is going to play out as kind of a way of you recognizing, if it's you, how you're putting yourself in the situation. If it's someone else, then it's you recognizing how they're putting themselves in the situation, and you seeing it as what it is, just because of repeated behaviors, cause and effect, and how something has played out numerous times, right? So let's go back to that first message. If you're a lawmaker, it's so random, but that first story of if you had to make edits and then you're pushing it through still. Well, if you didn't make those edits, how does that look? It looks like you're greedy and you just wanted to push something through to get it pushed through as soon as possible and get it published. If you're a writer, instead of making the edits that needed to be done, which is bad for your it's bad for your name, for your reputation. It's not good you would rather be known as being diligent and having kind of just being hardworking and putting the effort in, rather than being greedy enough to just push something through. So if if that is you, then you're recognizing the lesson in it, and you're starting to adapt and make changes and take your time, right? If this is for everybody else, you know, like same message. If this is career, if this is project, if this is relationship, regardless, there is that still major lesson of like how cause and effect works. If you put yourself in this situation over and over again, is it going to change? No. Breaking free from that, really asking for help from people around you because you recognize where you went wrong, recognizing to some extent where either your own greed and indulgence put you in a bad place or someone else's did, and how you can be diligent to not create such environmental kind of hazards or whatever's going on in, you know, for you, like whatever you need to change with this reaching out for help, but like still really experiencing kind of like a need for extreme change with these cards, okay, in the future. So like really just recognizing like where you went wrong potentially in a relationship, and why and how and etc., and where you need to be better for yourself so that you don't get steamrolled in the future. Okay, I never do this, but we're gonna grab one more clarifying card. Oh, 2 fell out. Well, you've got the Death card and the 8 of Coin appearing. So the Death card is metamorphosis, change, major cycle changes, right? It is a Scorpio card, and the 8 of Coin represents diligence, passion, and high standards. So ultimately my advice to you would be not to fear whatever change is coming, to push through. You got this. Now it might be hard for a minute because you are literally, yeah, you're an air sign, and all air signs are like this. I know that this might be like publicly annoying for people to hear, but air signs don't like to ask for help. It's all 3 of us. Libras are bubbly and more likely to. They're the only ones that are likely to out of the 3. How about that? Okay. So ultimately, the fact that it's bad enough for you to be asking for help is a big deal. That alone should be telling you right now there's some change that needs to occur and will occur. You just have to put the effort in and trust that because you really do have diligence and you are hardworking, that good things will pay out, and that you just kind of have to keep your head up and keep trying to push forward and fight the good fight, right? All right, air signs, I hope you enjoyed your read. I will see you in the next one. Have a beautiful season.